For us, even though this work is located very much in the heart of the Downtown Eastside, we're very clear that it's located in the context of colonization across these lands, that this report can't be taken as an isolated project about the Downtown Eastside. We know that colonization is ongoing. Women continue to be missing and murdered across these lands. We see the farce of reconciliation and absolute disrespect of Indigenous women with what is happening with Minister Jody Wilson. We see that the crisis on Indigenous communities for basic water, public infrastructure, rights on reserve, homes on reserve, and resource extraction on unceded lands is continuing. And for us, it's really pressing that the 200 recommendations in this report need to be acted on urgently. This cannot be another set of recommendations that sits on a shelf, that gets talked about as another report that's come out, but that urgent action needs to happen today. Our most pressing recommendation that all 128 collaborators and participants were unanimous on was active Indigenous women's leadership in all levels of decision making and full Indigenous jurisdiction over Indigenous lands and services and laws.
The legal system, I don't call it justice because there hasn't been very much justice for Indigenous women all across this country. There are so many cases, you know, Tina Fontaine and all the women that, you know, were murdered by Picton, you know, and it goes on and on. There has been no justice for many of these women.
For a lot of our Indigenous peoples, from the day we were born, we pretty much had to fight. We had to do a lot of things that a lot of people haven't. Coming to the city, I've been to where kings and queens have sat. I've seen some things that women should never have seen, and I stand up today and I thank God for just being here.
We're overly labeled, stereotyped, stigmatized, and pushed into all one corral where we're all labeled as prostitutes, and any of the work that we've done has been used and pushed and prepped and polished for funders to pull in fundings for them. This one belongs to the women.
I think this is very timely in the aftermath of the ejection of Jody Wilson-Raybould and Jane Philpott, because that represents lateral violence, violence against women at the highest levels of government in this land. And there has been an inherent part of the neo-colonial narrative that seeks to silence the voice of women.